Do you vote the same way as your parents do?
Mostly yes.
No, I have my own opinion, so no.
Me and my parents have identical political views.
I'm a floating voter, just like my family is.
I don't think so, but I don't know for sure when my parents are voting.
No, I don't. But I also moved out very early, and I moved abroad. We know that adolescence is a very important life phase for people and their political development, and there are multiple factors that influence this development. Adolescents, for example, can learn about politics from school, they can learn about politics from their peers, from media consumption, but also from their parents. Parents are very influential for the political development of their children. Research shows that they're the most influential source for the political development of children. But then again, only in the cases where parents actually are engaged with politics and talk about politics with their children.
The first couple of times I voted, yes, because like the reason, like the party they vote for was like the most like in the direction of what I agree with as well. But then since then, another party emerged that is more aligned with what I believe. So like the last time I didn't vote the same as them, but in the same direction.
Yeah, I think that my ideas are kind of similar to my parents' ideas about the world, and especially in politics, because they taught me most of the ideas.
Ideas, of course.
Yes, I do, because my parents grew me and I have the same views as them. Maybe in the future it's gonna change because I'm communicating with other people to see different views, and maybe in the future it will change.
It is not surprising that they say that they vote the same things as their parents. Because we know from research that parents are very influential for their children. But what already some of these students acknowledge is that they not only consider their party preferences when they think about the political preferences, but they also talk about how their views on certain issues are similar to what their parents think. This one student was saying that they first voted for one left-wing party and then they voted for the other left-wing party. So even if the votes do not stay the same and it's not the exact same party, it is very likely that your parents are transmitting something to you that also again would influence your voting, like your issue opinions or your left-right orientation. The other point that I found interesting that someone brought up is that they acknowledge that they will still grow. We know that political development does not only happen when you're a teenager or a young adult, but continues, even though your views stay quite stable. In many countries, especially in the Netherlands, people switch their votes all the time. So it can still be that these students will change their opinions, but it's likely that there's a certain basis of values and issue opinions and left-right orientation that will guide their future voting.
We disagree on some questions, but overall, I mean, like we're kind of liberal, you know, and like the basis is like the same, but on some questions we might have different answers. So yeah, it depends like on specific topic.
We do each our research and then we agree at the end. Maybe it is a bit like influence, but maybe not.
When we talk about the influence that parents have on their children, it's important to make a distinction between those parents that really engage with politics, that know much about politics, that talk to their children about politics, and those that do not. Because there are also children that have parents that don't talk about politics with them, and this can create inequalities in their political development. So there might be children that can really rely on their parents for information, and there are also children that can't. And this type of inequality is really problematic for representative democracies. The most surprising outcome at the time, now in hindsight not so surprising anymore, is that not only do parents influence their children, but children actually also influence their parents. So we see in our research that children do transmit their own party preferences and even left-right orientations to their parents. And this is a very exciting finding, because this means that in those cases where, for example, the parents are the ones that know less about politics, we could actually teach children, for example, in schools and civic education about politics, and they would be carrying that kind of information to their parents.